Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the program today, a recipe. Mix in equal parts of Stations Casinos, the Culinary Union, and the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada. What does it mean? It's going to be war. Ray Hagar has the rundown.
Thanks, Sam. Today's guest is John Sande. He's a gaming expert and a managing partner for Jones Vargas.
And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Pat Coward, Ty Cobb, and Greg Bortolin. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
High-tech companies demand perfect world amenities. They require clean, reliable power, state-of-the-art fiber optic communications, and clean water sources. In a perfect world, companies would have immediate access to rail and interstate freeways. There would be 4-lane expressways that shorten shipping times and provide convenient commute routes for valued employees. Well, the future is now, and it's here. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
The resort at Red Hawk offers you two great dining choices. Experience David's Grill and Sports Bar or the Steakhouse at Red Hawk. The Steakhouse has received the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence based on a diverse selection of fine wines. To accompany the wines, the Steakhouse serves certified Angus beef steaks in a variety of cuts, fresh fish, chicken, and pasta dishes. For fun and casual dining, come to David's Grill and Sports Bar. David's is open 7 days a week, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The resort at Red Hawk. Always the right choice.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And we welcome to the broadcast John Sande, who's the managing partner of Northern Nevada for Jones Vargas. Pleasure to have you here. I want to point out that one of the clients of Jones Vargas is Station Casinos, so we'll get that out on the top. And I also want to point out that for the last 2 months, we've been trying to get Dee Taylor, the head of the Culinary Union, to come on this program and talk about the subject we're going to talk about today. And so far, he's been traveling. So we hope he stops traveling soon and ends up here at Nevada Newsmakers. Okay, so Station Casinos, along with the Venetian, are not unionized, and that has been a huge war in southern Nevada for a long time, especially blew up in the last legislative session, between the Culinary, who wants to organize Station Casinos, and obviously Station Casinos. Now we've seen over the last couple of months where the Culinary Union is lobbying to prevent a major property like a Green Valley Ranch in southern Nevada being built in South Reno. This is a project that would do immense things for northern Nevada and certainly would show a very healthy boost to the gaming industry at a time when the gaming industry has been flagging, let's face it, over the last few years. What do you make of all this?
Well, what I make of it is basically what the Culinary Union is saying is if you do not allow us to unionize your facility, even though your workers don't want to do that we will go after you all across the nation and not allow you to do business. All other northern Nevada casinos like this project. They think it'll be very beneficial.
Including the competitors.
Including the competitors. So what we're talking about here is a Culinary Union coming from Las Vegas up to northern Nevada and trying to influence people up here.
John, what about a report just came out from the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada that shows that $30 million from downtown gaming would be sucked off by this new casino development? What is your...
Well, first of all, the downtown casinos aren't concerned. Number two is the Culinary Union is pushing that report. And I think you have to look and say, when are we going to start looking at competitive factors and trying to determine who should move where? Isn't this free enterprise? And if somebody has a good product, they should open it up as long as it complies with the zoning requirements.
So the report is just
It's laughable. It is absolutely laughable. First of all, this shows the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada exactly where they stand, that they're shilling for the Culinary Union, number one, instead of being an independent organization. Number two, if there is money to be made or lost in downtown Reno, it's going to be made by those properties. They need to improve their product so that people will come and visit them and enjoy that experience. Station Casinos is building a property, or wants to build a property, about 6-7 miles from downtown, that will attract not only locals, but also will have 500 rooms in the beginning to attract tourists as well. Downtown is perfectly capable, and it has been over the last couple of years, of banding together to bring in major concerts, to bring in major events, and if they don't want to lose money to anybody, whether it be in, I'm so tired of, the reason that Northern Nevada isn't doing as well as, well, it's 9/11. You know what? That was 4 years ago. Well, it's Indian gaming. Well, that's been going on for the last, 5 or 6 years now. Business doesn't stay the same. Nobody gets the right to be in business forever and never have anything change. You have to do things to improve your product and make something that people will want to come and visit. And I think downtown has been doing a great job of that. Look at the resurgence in downtown.
Aren't we interviewing him?
No, but you know something? This is a discussion. Am I wrong on this?
No, but I'd like to hire you.
Well, okay.
And I'll take that job.
So the plan report is...
It's hogwash.
Okay, it's hogwash.
Would you agree?
What do you have to say about the local community, the CAB boards, the grassroots opposition to this? Now that is real, and that is there, and that is heartfelt by the people who live in those areas.
How many people responded?
I think what this is all being driven. This is being driven by the Culinary Union. My understanding is that Mike Alonso is handling this for our firm, and he has all the facts. But I understand out in that corridor, it's tremendous support for this project, huge majority, and it's perfect from the standpoint it's far away from schools, and it's isolated, and it's across from a major development, so it's, from a zoning standpoint, it is a very good project.
It didn't come anywhere close to the neighborhood standards. The neighbors weren't notified because they're not close enough to be affected. There is a major shopping center going there. What is it, 500,000 square feet?
I believe so.
Shopping center, which is about half the size of Meadowood Mall. I mean, if you're going to put a development anywhere, and this area has been zoned for 25 years for gaming, this makes the most sense to put it in there. I mean, it's just crazy. My understanding is that stations put out a mailer asking for the opinion of the locals, and 90% of the responses, and they got about 1,500 or 1,800 responses, 90% were positive. This is nuts. I mean, the people who would be most obvious to complain would be Tamarack Junction, which is going to be right next door, and they are enthusiastic about this bringing more people to the area. You
got to take your opinions. You should go talk to the parents at Bishop Minogue High School and Brown Elementary School and see how many agree with you, Sam.
I've got to say that I don't blame people for wanting to object and not wanting change, but our area is growing. Is that not correct, John?
Well, absolutely. I think that this is going to be a great project. Stations Casino runs a great casinos in southern Nevada, and one of the reasons that they haven't been unionized is their employees love them. So they're going to come up here. They're going to not only have a lot of contractors and unions working here building it.
Oh, and may I bring that up? There is a war going on within the union world, correct? Explain what's going on there.
Well, it's the building unions are in favor of this project, and the Culinary has gone out of its way to come up here, and they don't have any members here that are living here, but they're going out of their way to set up websites and assist residents trying to oppose the project.
And isn't this going to be fun at the next legislative session when the Culinary and the trades unions all get together and the people who are the builders up here get nailed by the Culinary if this project weren't to be built? That's going to be a lot of fun seeing that play out.
It will be.
Dee Taylor, you are welcome to be on this program anytime. Obviously, we have a real difference of opinion on our hosts here, but we welcome you to come on the program and give your opinion.
Along with Sam Stations. No longer Sam Shad.
We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers. More with John Sande after this.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
You bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
Happy hour at the Peppermill.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org. The National Mining Association.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
Back on Nevada Newsmakers, we plan to let John Sande speak in this segment. It's a pleasure to have you here, as always. Let's talk about what State Senator Randolph Townsend said on the program last Thursday, where he's looking at the amount of revenue being collected by the state and saying it's too much. And it's ridiculous for us to keep collecting it and then having to rebate it. We need to roll back the taxes. And he pretty much was specific on just about every tax that was increased, rolling it back in one fashion or another. You think that's going to happen?
Well, obviously, he's a very powerful senator and has a lot of respect from others. And so if he's saying that there's a lot of money out there, then it may very well be. I don't have access to the financials for the state. I do know that one of the things we have to look at is they're having a blue ribbon commission that the governor's appointed to look at transportation needs. And I think that we may have to fund those a little bit more aggressively than we have in the past to make sure that we don't become like L.A. as far as traffic goes, especially in Las Vegas and Reno. But clearly, we're in a booming economy right now, and the taxes that have been imposed in the past, such as sales tax, gaming tax, and the business tax, are just going through the roof.
His idea of rolling back taxes on the gaming industry was rolling back the payroll tax. Would that be enough for gaming?
I think that gaming, I think that all businesses in gaming should sit down together and recognize that they're all businesses. Now, gaming does pay a gaming tax, and so I think consideration should be given to, if there is going to be rollbacks, to make sure that they're not penalized compared to other businesses. But I think that one of the problems I've seen in the past, and I think we've gotten over it, is that all businesses in Nevada should work together to make sure that we have a healthy economy.
And you think that's going to happen? Is the groundwork being laid for that right now?
I think it has been after the ugly session 2 sessions ago, and I think now that all businesses in the state of Nevada get along a lot better than they did that one session. So yes, I'm very positive.
Can we get back to this South Reno casino thing?
Sure.
Okay, now, you know that there has been a lot of opposition to both the station's project and Mr. Whittemore's project out in Spanish Springs by citizens advisory boards. Now, do you feel that this opposition by these boards is genuine, or do you think it's more of a juiced up by the culinary union?
Well, I certainly think for stations it was juiced up by the culinary union. There's no question about that. They set up the internet site for anybody opposed it, but it's really a matter of zoning. So let's look at the zoning. Let's not get away on other things like competition and who should be making money where, like this last report that we mentioned. It should be strictly, is it zoned correctly? And if you look at that area out there, what else would you put there? I mean, it's clearly a commercial project, and if somebody wants to invest their money and go into gaming, go ahead and do it. It's a free competition, unless we want to, as a state, start regulating who makes money and who makes it where.
You know, and the whole Spanish Spring thing, beyond the citizens, being fueled by the casino owners in downtown Sparks. I mean, there's no doubt about that whatsoever. I can tell you that.
Well, there is some genuine opposition, Sam, that comes from the heart of people who live there and do not want a gaming casino near their home. They have built their homes in those areas for the American dream.
But the zoning, if the zoning is in place, you know, I mean, you know, the thing that drives me nuts about this is that those same residents are going to be having big box stores like Home Depot and Lowe's and Walmart. It's not like giant businesses aren't going to be in these locations and that people want those. So if the zoning is there for gaming, why should gaming not be allowed to grow? I want to change the subject, if I may.
Yeah, it's your show.
Let's talk about the governor's race. Where do you think we are with this at this point? And is Oscar Goodman going to jump in?
I don't know. I mean, you have 5 candidates out there, and they're all, you know, have good backgrounds and know what they're doing, and it's
oh,
unusual.
come on, that's the political answer. What do you really think?
I think there are 5 out there, and they're all going to be fighting like crazy, and one of them, you know, in both parties will be very interested in to see. Now, the funny thing is that, you know, we will have an earlier primary this year in August, and so fewer people may show up, and so it may very well be that the candidate that wins is the pure Democrat and the pure Republican.
Which would be in this case?
Right now, I'd say Dina Titus and Jim Gibbons would have to be the favorites.
What would the betting odds be for in both those races? Would you give Dina Titus, would she be 3-1 over Mr. Gibson? And
no, I think it's probably closer than that. I'm not a gambler, so I really wouldn't know. But
you represent gaming.
I represent gaming.
That's why I'm asking.
I just think that right now that's where it is. But I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there supporting him, and he really hasn't said a whole lot yet. Dina's been very much up front. And, you know, you haven't heard a lot from the other Republican candidates. But based upon the polling that I've seen, right now it looks like she would be the candidate against Gibbons.
Okay. Do you think that if at some point Mayor Goodman feels that Dina could not beat Gibbons, that he would jump into the race?
Everybody tells me that he's not going to jump in the race, but I think, you know, I would never say no, because I think he has his own idea of what he wants to do, and if he decides it would be something that's fun, he'd probably do it.
And he could always threaten to cut off more body parts.
That's correct.
We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers. Thanks for being here, John. We'll be right back after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, water resources come from fresh, clean groundwater, approved by state permits. The water is pumped from wells to million-gallon storage tanks and then distributed to TRI companies. Another amenity is our investment in a state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plant. This disposal system converts waste to clean water for industrial applications. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevada.
The Nevada Beer Wholesalers encourages the responsible consumption of beer. The Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association are sponsors and participants in many community-based efforts such as school education programs, safe ride home, recycling programs, alcohol-free after-prom and graduation parties, safe voting campaigns, and designated driver programs. They are family-owned businesses employing 2,000 Nevadans. They also collect and pay the state excise tax. The Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association, delivering more than just beer.
The resort at Red Hawk offers you 2 great dining choices. Experience David's Grill and Sports Bar or the Steakhouse at Red Hawk. The Steakhouse has received the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence based on a diverse selection of fine wines. To accompany the wines, the Steakhouse serves certified Angus beef steaks in a variety of cuts, fresh fish, chicken, and pasta dishes. For fun and casual dining, come to David's Grill and Sports Bar. David's is open 7 days a week, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The resort at Red Hawk. Always the right choice.
Since its creation more than a decade ago, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has focused on 3 goals: preserving water quality, improving water conservation in Southern Nevada, and meeting the community's current and future water needs. Through thoughtful planning, responsible management, and collaboration, it's succeeding. As we move into the 21st century, the authority continues to embrace sustainable water development and efficient water use. That's our promise to Nevada.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we're joined by a great Power Pundit panel as always. Greg Bortolin is here, formerly the press secretary to Governor Gwynn, and now communications director for Jim Gibson for governor. Pat Coward, a very welcome return and looking in good health here. And Ty Cobb, former special assistant to President Reagan. Want to go to the Carson Appeal, and a column there by Carolyn DeMar and Maisie Harris-Jesse of November 8th, where they say, Ray, Mr. Entertainment Hagar, formerly the Capitol Bureau Chief for the Reno Gazette Journal, and now a host on KRNV's Nevada Newsmakers, last week called Carson City the most boring town in the United States. Gee, thanks, Ray. It's good you moved. We couldn't stand the excitement.
Got yourself in trouble on that one.
Any comment there, Mr. Bortolin?
I grew up in Carson City, and I guess I resemble that comment. Carson City's a great place, and Pat might know better than me, but the lobbyists seem to do quite well there during the legislature. They seem to have a great time.
We do have a good time.
All right, I think I will move on. Okay, so there was an editorial in the Review-Journal on the 13th that said that the departure of John Lilly from the University of Nevada as president should not bring in another round of pay raises, because every time we've hired a president, they've gotten a much higher salary, and then we've had to boost all the salaries of all the other presidents to go along the way. And I kind of feel the same way about that. But then today, the New York Times has an article, if I can find it here, that was a terrific article, and it says that at this point in this country, private universities presidents are earning $1 million a year, $1 million in a year, and some of the public universities, the University of Michigan, $724,000, University of Texas, $693,000, Georgia State University, $688,000. My wallet is already trembling, Ty.
I think it should be, because the salaries for university presidents have risen. I don't think as they search for the permanent for the University of Nevada that you're going to have to consider a salary anywhere near in that range. I think we're going to find a lot of wonderful candidates who are more than happy to accept the job at the current levels.
I think I worked at the university for 5 years, was part of higher ed for a while. And I don't know what's wrong with if a university president brings in $40 million a year if you compensate them and reward them for a job well done.
Okay, and here's my answer to that, which is give them like any other salesman, because I've contended for a long time that has become the job for the university president is raising money. Let's make it a sales position. Give them a base and a percentage. And a percentage of $40 million, $100 million is a lot of money. I have no problem with that. That's pay to play. I like that. What do you think, Pat?
I think it's kind of the same issue down in Clark County. I think we talked about once before on the salary for the superintendent of schools. I think it's accountability. I think that's one of the most important. If it's sales or academic, whatever it is, I think you have to have the accountability tied in with the compensation. And sometimes we always don't have that.
You know, Ty, I think that, I find in business that a lot of times people hire somebody and pay them a large amount of money, and that person isn't as productive as they would be if they were a little hungrier.
Well, I think the idea of incentivizing a position is certainly a good one. It's very difficult, though, when you try to tie fundraising to specific performance, because who exactly would be responsible for the very generous IGT gift to the Knowledge Center, for example? I think there are 4 or 5 offices and people that could get credit for that. I think I would agree with Pat, though, that you reward performance on accountability, strategic vision, relations with the community, alumni donating. There can be a number of things that you do in the annual review, and if they perform well, then you certainly reward them.
But wouldn't it be scary if we saw a couple $100,000 increase in the salary for the president of the University of Nevada?
I don't think that's going to happen, because both the university presidents in this state just got very large raises that were tied into their respective foundations. And again, I think that you're going to see presidents who maybe stay because they have more invested here. And I'm sure John Lilly didn't take a pay cut to go to Baylor.
But that was the hope, wasn't it, with John Lilly? I mean, and that actually brings up a very good point. I mean, Ray, do we want presidents to stick around for a while? Is it better to have them here for 4 or 5 years and then they leave, or is it better to have them, like Joe Crowley, here for many years?
It all depends, I think, on the president. I think it was good to have Dr. Crowley here a long time, but then it was also good for Dr. Lilly to leave. One thing that about these large salaries for university presidents and other administrators, you have to balance that out with what it costs a struggling student to get a college education nowadays. It's almost out of reach, and I just think there's a gross inequity there with the salaries of the top top employees of a university system and the money they squeeze out of students for books, for parking, and for other tuition.
I think, Ray, you can take that to the K through 12 level as well. How much of the money do we actually makes it to the classroom? I mean, I think that's the
salaries of top administrators in K-12 cannot match what Dr. Lilly makes, what Dr. Hart
Well, I think we also have to recognize that the salary of the University of Nevada president is probably lower than the average, as the New York Times article pointed out, and certainly the tuition rates charged to students at University of Nevada are the lowest in the country. Yes. The lowest in the country. So I don't think the burden has been too great.
Yeah. Okay, and Greg, would Jim Gibson also have the same feelings about the inequities and the different or disparity between what the Clark County superintendent is paid and what goes into the classrooms?
I think one of the things the mayor is looking at is how much money actually makes its way, trickles down to the classroom.
That's good.
But as against Jim Rogers, who owns these stations upon which the station is broadcasting, university chancellor, who says that we need to have a superstar and pay him a lot more money?
Well, again, I think what Jim Rogers' philosophy is, let's get the best guy we can. I mean, Mike Krzyzewski at Duke makes a lot of money, but he brings in 20 times what he makes. And I think that's probably Jim Rogers' model as opposed to Sam Shad's model.
I'm still thinking...
You know, the Clark County School District is the biggest, it's a big monster in the state. You can't compare all the other districts to Clark.
And that's where we got to leave it. Great panel. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
In part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Play over 480 of the hottest slots and video poker games. Enjoy hot times and sizzling food specials at Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. Watch your favorite game on one of our jumbo high-definition plasma TVs. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the Dining Car Restaurant. Or sample the best hot and cold sandwiches in the Whistle Stop Deli. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
Yeah. I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seem to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? They do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Peppermill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Peppermill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Peppermill. Where are you dining?
You can watch Nevada Newsmakers online 24 hours a day at NevadaNewsmakers.com.
Sam, tomorrow we have Russ Fields of the Nevada Mining Association.
It'll be a great show. We'll see you then.
You're going to dig it.